This is the Speak Easy podcast where we go behind the scenes and talk about what it is to be the successfully paid speaker and author. I am your host, Altavi Spelzer, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, and founder of the World Voice League, a community of female speakers coming together to impact social change. So let me preface this episode for you. It's one thing to win an award for speaking. It's a whole nother thing to be on a world stage when it comes to speaking. But our guest for today is the second African American woman world champion of public speaking. That is a feat like no other, simply because it says a lot about dedication. It says a lot about, being an overcomer. It says a lot about showing up and being your authentic self as well. So with that being said, I want to say hello to Ramona. How are you, sis?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Definitely. So before we dive into today's topic and some really interesting things about your journey, let everybody know a little bit about you.
Where do I begin? I mean, as far as the title or as far as me as a person, or kind of loaded?
Well, it starts with you as the person, because were you always someone that was interested in being a speaker?
Yes, I knew that I wanted to speak for the rest of my life when I was 19. And that was a couple of years ago. And so I kind of just followed that bliss. I followed my heart, and I tried to deny it a few times. And the way the universe is set up, when you're supposed to be here, you're going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, or else you won't be here anymore. And I tried to run from it for a long time, and it always came full circle back to speaking on stages. And that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Now, we're not even going to attempt to skirt past the fact that you tried to walk away from this. What was that thing that that you were like, you know what, this is not it. This is not for me.
It just seems like it's just too much of a dream. Like, you want to be a speaker, you want to be like Tony Robbins, like Iyanla Vanzant, you want to travel the world speaking and make a whole lot of money doing it. It just didn't seem like it was logical. It didn't seem like it was a feasible career path. And I mean, we're talking about last year. We're talking about 2018. I started teaching. I was a teacher in Aldine ISD. I moved to Houston after I got my degree finally. And I told myself I was going to teach for 5 years. I'm going to teach for 5 years. And then after those 5 years, I'm going to build up my retirement. I'm going to have my benefits and my salary. And then I'm going to speak. And the universe was like, nah, bro, you're going to speak for 4 months. Win this world championship and do what you're supposed to do, what I said that you were supposed to be here doing.
You know, that it's interesting when we think about the journey and how we have our plan, and it's cute to have our plan, because our plan, we put it on vision boards, write it all out. We got SMART goals, and we just think that we are the business. And then something happens, and it's like, no, you're supposed to be over there, and you're like, but it's not where I wanted to go at all. So in making that transition, was it a hard transition to go from the teaching to being on stages? Because I know there's a lot of similarities in it, but was it a hard transition for you?
Not at all, because I never wanted to be a teacher. I knew where my passion lied. And I feel like when you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, everything will line up. Everything's going to be in alignment. Everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And it was smooth. It was seamless. It was effortless. And I haven't looked back since.
I love it. One of the things that stood out for me the most is, of course, you being able to travel. And so I saw that you were in a couple different places. When it comes to speakers all across the world, what would you say is one thing that's really synonymous across the board?
You mean as far as content or as far as delivery?
As far as delivery.
And basically, it's the same fundamentals as far as we all want to give eye contact. We all want to use vocal variety. We all want to use body language and gestures. We all want to make sure we're engaging the audience, and we all want to be confident. I think those are like kind of the basics, some of the basics. However, every speaker is completely different. And the only speakers that I've seen that are similar are the speakers who try to assimilate somebody else. The speakers who are trying to sound exactly like Ian Van Zant, the speakers who are trying to sound exactly like Les Brown, the speakers who are trying to sound exactly like someone else. Those are the ones who you can copy a great speaker and you can try to be Barack Obama all day, but we can see right through that. So you can give us a great message and we'll understand what you're trying to say, but we won't connect because you're not being authentic. So all the basics are still there. You want to give eye contact. You want to use body language and hand gestures and, you know, certain elements of what makes up a great speech. So those things are that I've seen that are similar. But every speaker has a different style. Every speaker that I've seen in the 11 countries that I've visited since October.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Now, what has been your favorite country so far?
Kuwait.
Ah, why?
Kuwait. Yes, Kuwait. I just was able to interact with a family because I had some issues with my visa in India. So I had to stay in Kuwait for a little bit longer than I had anticipated. But I was able to really connect with a family, and we would sit down and have family dinners, and we would talk and just be family. Like I just felt like I was family there. Now, outside of speaking, I did 3 weeks in Ghana when I was in college for study abroad. That was by far the best experience that I've ever had. But that's the only country I've been to in Africa. But as far as solely speaking, Kuwait, hands down.
Good. Now, would you consider going back to Kuwait or to Ghana to do any type of events?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be back in Kuwait in February. I'm going to start a book tour. I'm going to launch the book tour in Kuwait and do Saudi Arabia and Bahrain as well.
That's epic. Okay, to be able to say that I'm going to start my book tour in Kuwait. Hands down. The most epic thing that I've had anybody ever say on this podcast. I know you said that it's still in that realm of feeling surreal. Mm-hmm. How have you been able to leverage the award and the publicity that has come with it?
Well, this is what I've always wanted. I've always wanted this. And Toastmasters is just another avenue to get me to my ultimate destination, which is to be that female Tony Robbins, which is to be that Iyanla Vanzant type of, or that, not quite Eric Thomas, because his delivery is a little, but to be that Oprah, you know, this was just a launching pad. So Toastmasters a lot of people think that's it. Once you win a world championship, oh wow, your name is in history forever. Now what are you gonna do? It's like, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of my dreams. My dreams go far beyond 2,000 people in the trophy. And you know, the 11 countries that I've been able to speak in and impact, it goes way beyond that. I want to speak on every continent. That's including Antarctica. I will speak to a group of penguins if they're willing to listen.
I know that's right.
I want to be a household name. I want to be on TV. I want to be in movies. I want to have some New York Times best-selling books. You know, Toni Morrison passed away today. God rest her. So I want to be, you know, somewhere in her league when I'm 88. Maya Angelou, that status. And Toastmasters gave me an opportunity to start. I started my speaking business, the Ladybug Speaker LLC, in 2011. But when nobody knows you, nobody knows you. So I've been speaking for a long time. Like I said, since I was 19. What year was that? That was 2006. So I knew I wanted to do this since 2006. And now here we are, almost 2020. And I'm finally emerging onto the speaking circuit, like finally. So this is really just the beginning. I feel like this is the graduation. I haven't even started my career yet. I haven't even made my first million yet. I haven't even published. I published a book a couple of years back, but I haven't even published a book where I can actually go on a speaking tour. That's what I want to do next. You know, this is just the beginning. So this has always been my dream, and this is just the beginning.
You know, I love that I hear the tenacity in your voice. I hear, it's like, look, this is going to happen. This is going to work. Did you come across any moments where something tripped you up and got you off track so much so that you were just like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work?
Yeah, all the time. Especially when you have big dreams. Like when you have big dreams, it just seems like, is it ever going to happen? Am I just talking? Am I just crazy? Like how I don't know how all this is going to pan out. But like I said, like when it's something that's burned in your soul, when it's something that's embedded into your being, you got to roll with it. And it's like, no matter how many times I try to convince myself, like, nah, whatever, no, I'm not doing this anymore. There was always a love and a passion for it. But even when I try to convince myself, like, no, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like I tried to be a housewife one time, ended up being married for only 8 months and still going back full circle as a speaker. Like I thought going to college was going to kind of take it all away, because I don't know if you watched the speech, but I dropped out of college 4 times. But then I had my son, and it was like, okay, I got to do something. And I thought that going to college and, finally finishing and getting my bachelor's degree, and once I do this, I don't have to worry about speaking anymore. I'm going to have a career. That didn't do it either. So at this point, it's just like, I'm not running from it anymore. Whatever happens is going to happen. I'm not working for anybody anymore. I resigned from teaching in December of 2018. I'm not working for anybody anymore. There has not been a day when I've gone without. I have everything I need, and at this point, I just have to trust, because I've gone through so many difficulties and challenges within myself and outside of myself, outside of my control. But it always leads back to the same thing, and I feel like now it's trusting time, and it's gonna take me wherever it's supposed to take me, and I know that it's gonna take me far.
Now, I know you spoke about Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins has some things that he does before he gets on stage. One of the things I've seen him do is jump on a trampoline. Do you have anything that you do before? Are you snapping in circles or anything before you go out on stage?
I'm not. I don't do anything. I don't have any rituals or anything yet. Maybe it's because I haven't done as big events as he does. I mean, sometimes he's speaking in front of 100,000 people. My biggest audience was 2,000, and I don't have a big production and lights and cameras and things like that, not yet. But maybe when it gets to that point and I'm doing 6 cities every week or something like that, and I have to calm myself down because it's so much and so much stimulation, and I haven't had a lot of sleep, or however that works, maybe then. But right now, I just get up there and have fun.
What's been your most emotional speech?
It depends. It depends, because usually when I speak, unless it's something very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very formal, and I know they want me to say a specific thing because of the audience and the reputation, I usually try not to do a lot of scripting, unless it's like a commencement speech or a eulogy or something like that, or a corporate training. But the times when I get emotional, it's probably because I'm talking about something that kind of just came up. I go with the feeling and the vibe of the audience. So I don't have a specific speech that I do all the time that brings out a certain level of emotion.
Which, that's awesome. I know a lot of people go back and forth with, do I write notes? Do I use a projector? Or do I try to think of it, try to keep it all in my head? Your best practice for you is, listen, I know what I'm talking about. I get up there, I'm going to bang it out.
Yes.
Do you practice beforehand?
It depends. It depends. Like today I spoke at the University of Houston downtown. I made an agenda, but I didn't practice beforehand. But I belong to Toastmasters International, and we meet every single Monday, and we give speeches in order to get awards and things and advancements and things like that. And so if I have a speech with Toastmasters, I usually practice. If it's some type of corporate training, I'll practice. For the competition, I practice. It really just depends on the engagement.
Okay. All right. Now, okay, commencement speeches. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about it? I mean, is that something I know you said that you want to be along the lines of Iyanla Vanzant and Tony Robbins. So do you want to move away from the corporate and the commencement speeches and just do big events? Or are you more prone to wanting to talk to, the next generations, the ones that are coming after you, going to the high schools and things of that nature?
My favorite events or my favorite audience is the young people, because I feel like they're so receptive. Like the college students today, they're just so open. They just want to hear what you're saying. When you're talking to a group of people who have their master's degrees or better, people who've been in business longer than I've been alive, people who've been married longer than I've been alive, they have that sense of, what can she tell me? I know it all. It's very little that they're open to receive, even if they have no idea what I'm talking about, even if my story is completely new to them. It's just a mature arrogance. And so when I speak to the young people, it's just like filling up an empty glass. And I get so much benefit out of that, because I know that they want it. And when you want it, I want to give it to you. But when I sense resistance, it's like, I don't want to give it to you. Like, so my preference is the young people. I honestly don't like corporate training, but corporate training pays a whole lot.
It does.
So,
it does.
And then it depends on the organization. Like, you have some organizations who are very stiff, who want you to come in and say, no, we want you to talk about this, and this. Then you have some organizations that are laid back, some corporations that are like, okay, just get in there, do your thing. We're all going to come in our pajamas and our flip-flops, and you kind of just take the floor. So it really depends on the corporate training, but that's not my favorite. My favorite is anything dealing with the young people, college students, high school, even elementary. I can read you some Pete the Cat. We can talk about
it. I know that's right. Oh my goodness, so many things that we can hit on when it comes to being the successful speaker and getting on stages. Have you been able to be on stage with any of these speakers that you admire?
I got to see Tony Robbins, and I paid a lot of money to see him front row, but one of my dreams is still to go on tour with him. I haven't been able to share the stage with Iyanla Vanzant yet, or Les Brown, or Eric Thomas, or Tony Robbins just yet, but God willing, in the future, if I keep making a name for myself, they'll come.
Most definitely. I mean, when I saw your story, it was inspiring to me, simply because when we think about being the first, the second, being the third of anything, it stands out. Mm-hmm. It not only stands out in the good way, where, everybody's congratulating you, because, everybody gives you the hand clap. They may not pay you, still won't pay you, but they'll give you the hand clap and the kudos. But it also puts you under a microphone, like a magnifying glass. Mm-hmm. It has people looking at, okay, what are you doing now? Don't make two left steps, because now, she done tripped and she done went way off the course. And so I always am very respectful of those who make huge accomplishments like that, because it was a huge accomplishment. Mm-hmm. It was. Now, have you had anybody who's been that person that has you underneath the magnifying glass saying, I'm watching to see what she doing. I don't trust her just yet.
I don't know, probably, but if I'm not worried about that person.
Oh, speak on it.
I'm not worried about that person. I feel like I'm at a place now where I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm going to do it. And that's really all that matters. And if it makes you feel some type of way, then that's how you feel about it. If it doesn't make you feel some type of way, then that's how you feel about it. Did a question just pop up?
Oh, yes. On it.
Oh, I'm like, what? That never happened to me before. I guess I've never been a panelist before.
Yes. Talking about your difficulties outside of yourself always leads you back to your dream. Yeah. How did you get your first speaking opportunity?
Oh, my goodness. My first speaking opportunity, I probably was in Los Angeles when I moved to Los Angeles. And I was just doing like cold calls, and I was looking for anything to try to do, because I knew no one knew who I was, because I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. But I moved out to LA to try to see what that was going to do. And I saw a flyer to a church event with an organization called the Silver Lining of Hope. and they were having an event, and I just reached out to them and I said, well, I'm a poet. I can do some poetry at your event, because at that time that was my entry thing. Like, let me do some poetry. You might not let me speak for 20 minutes, but I can do a 5-minute poem. And so I saw the flyer. I called the pastor. They had me come to a Bible study or something and do some poetry. And after that, they was like, yes, 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 please. So I was able to speak at their annual conference. I did a poem there. I think he gave me like 20 or 30 bucks or something like that. But it was just kind of cold calling and trying to get whatever I could.
That speaks volumes, though, because listen, instead of attempting to add on something that you weren't comfortable in doing, you said, this is what I'm comfortable doing. I can show up just like this and make this my entryway. There are so many who come into the industry when it comes to speaking that they have no clue. They just want to try to pull off everything. They're going, let me do this, and this person said it this way, so let me say it this way, or this person stands this way, let me stand this way. And it's like you're doing the hokey pokey to try to be a speaker, and that's just not how it goes.
Yeah, I used to get offended when I was really passionate, like crazy in love with speaking. I would get offended when I would see someone call themselves a speaker and this and this and this and this and this, and then you get on stage and you don't wow me. That used to offend me. But as I get more mature, I understand that whatever you want to call yourself, that's what you are. And everybody has a story that they want to share, and everybody's speaking style is going to resonate with some people, and it isn't going to resonate with some people. And you just have to find your way, find out what works for you, find out what's comfortable with you, and understand that there's room for everyone. Even if you meet 37,000 people with speaker on their list of things that they are, there's still room for you.
Awesome. I know that's another thing is, they talk about it being a saturated market. Your story resonates with somebody.
It does. And every market that you're in is considered saturated because you attract what you are. If we were talking about writing, it'll be 5 million writers. If we were talking about scuba diving, everybody who showed up would be a scuba diver. If we were talking about microbiology, it would be the same thing. It's very, whenever you're in a circle of people, that's what you're going to continue to attract around you. So it might seem like it's saturated, but even if it is, what rises to the top? The cream rises to the top, or something. Whatever it is, it's rising to the top.
Whatever it is, it's going to be at the top. Figure it out.
Yeah, in a room full of 10,000 speakers, the ones who are the most gifted are going to be the ones who get the most attention, the ones who you are most attracted to. So anybody can slap on any type of title, but at the end of the day, real talent and authenticity is going to outshine anything else.
Now, another thing that people often, I know you talked about being a part of Toastmasters, and some coming in, there's this whole idea of being a solopreneur and trying to do things on your own. But I know that being a part of a community is so much better. Are you a part of any other speaking communities?
I try to look into the NSA, but it didn't really do anything for me. So right now, just Toastmasters. But I mean, it's a community of 357,000 people, so I'm cool with that.
I know that's right. I have
in 143 countries, so I'm fine with that.
I've never been to a Toastmasters.
You should come.
I just, for the first time, will be going this week.
Oh, good.
But I have never been to a Toastmasters.
Tell them you interviewed me. I'm sure they'll be very, very impressed.
So I was just like, I don't know. Because people have that reservation. You think about it. When people think about Toastmasters, they think when I show up, I have to show up in a certain light. I have to show up, and we have all these pretenses before we'll actually take action on something.
I mean, every club has a different personality. I've been a member of 3 different clubs in 3 different states. Every club has a different personality. So you can visit around in Houston. Are you in Houston?
No, I'm in Maryland.
You in Baltimore, the Baltimore area? Yeah, there's a bunch of clubs out there. I mean, the state of Maryland, there's a bunch of clubs out there. So go visit a few of them. Like, if you don't like the one you go to, whenever you go to a different one. They all have different personalities, but it's not like some uptight club full of fat white corporate dudes. Like, That's why I'm so glad that I was able to get this title, to give it a different face. Like, I don't look like what the perception of Toastmasters is to a lot of people. A lot of people think it's for corporate, fat, white guys. Like, like upper middle class white dudes. Like, and I don't look anything like that. And so I'm glad that I gave it a fresh look and a fresh perspective.
And you know what else that does is that opens up the eyes for those who are younger coming in. Because they don't think, well, of course they don't think, like we talked about in the beginning of the episode, they don't think that speaking is a career. They don't think this is a business. And it is. It is a business.
It is a very lucrative business
if you want to.
Absolutely. You can make a lot of money doing it. Like I said, I never worked for anybody ever again. And I haven't even made $1 million yet. Like, I've only been doing it for a year, but I have not had to work for anybody since December. So, and at the same time, I had this platform though as well. So, I mean, like we said earlier, when nobody knows you, nobody knows you. So how are you going to get people to want to pay you a lot of money to come speak? What value are you going to add? What do you have that the next speaker doesn't have?
Now, one of the things that comes along with it also is, now as any influencer, you are now put into, a higher perspective. And so do you catch yourself saying, okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? Because of the perception of, me being the second African-American world champion of public speaking, do I really have to be very reserved in everything that I do now?
I feel like absolutely I do, because I'm a role model whether I want to be or not. And I'm taking this position seriously because as African-American women especially, there are a lot of negative stereotypes about Black women. Like when I went overseas one time, I think I was in Qatar. I was in Doha, Qatar, and I gave a speech to some women there. And one of the ladies said something like, "Oh my goodness, you don't talk like the rest of the Black women that I've ever heard." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, she was like, "You just speak so well, and you're just so well spoken. You don't talk like them." And I had to school her. I'm like, I'm so sorry that you feel that way, and I'm so sorry that your only experience with Black women was through Tiffany Haddish playing a character. That's not even Tiffany Haddish. She's playing a character. I'm like, African-American women are the most educated in the United States. We're starting the most businesses. We're the most successful entrepreneurs in America. Like, I'm so sorry you felt that way. We are some of the most gifted, smart, and intelligent people on the planet. And so with things happening like that, I definitely feel like I want to hold myself to a higher standard because of all of the young people who are looking up to me. So if you see the world champion twerking on top of a metro bus, they're going to think that that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I feel like we have to work on because you know what? Let me be careful how I put this, because I don't want people to think that I'm against twerking or that I'm against anything dealing with people who want to express themselves in that type of way. Just think about Michelle Obama. It's like people want to have someone they can look up to. People want to have a certain image of a leader. People want to be able to separate professionalism and fun. People want to be able to put certain people in a certain category. And I know that I represent not only myself, but I represent my child. I represent African-American women, and I represent this organization of Toastmasters, which is a little conservative. And so if I chose to do certain things, then it's going to give other people the perception that certain things it's going to blur the lines. It's going to blur the lines. And I don't want to blur the lines for young women. I don't want them to feel like, let me just be careful with this. What I represent is public speaking. What I represent is positivity. What I represent is creativity and being yourself, but knowing what lane you're in. I'm not an entertainer per se. I'm not a singer. I'm not in the music industry. I'm in the public speaking industry, and I represent the culture of public speaking. Now, if I represented the culture of twerking, then I'd be twerking right now. Or if I represented the culture of cursing, or, you know, the culture of just being extremely liberal, then that's what I would do. But in this lane right here, this speaking lane where I'm at, and the publicity that I want to receive, I want it to be from what comes out of my mouth, not what part of my body is shaking. And I want people to respect me for what I have in here and for what comes out of here. And I know that if I do certain things, I'm going to lose that respect. And I don't want to lose that respect because I know how society is. And so I have to conduct myself in a way where I'm projecting what I want people to see, what, like, the results that I want to get. I have to make sure my actions line up with the results that I want to get. And I know that was a lot, but I don't want people to think that I'm against anybody expressing themselves. I think it's beautiful when you can be yourself and when you can express yourself the way you want it, whether it be using profanity or using language that some people might find offensive, or whether it's wearing a certain outfit, or whether it's, I don't know, certain public displays of affection. That's cool, that's fine, but that's not the lane that I'm in right now.
And it speaks volumes. Determining what lane you're going to be in, and listen, not veering off, you know, but staying true to that lane. When we look at Michelle Obama, that's literally who she has been. Every ounce of, you know, what we know as Michelle Obama has been true to that lane. And when they go low, we go high. You know, every single thing that she said out of her mouth, every response, every reaction. Because we know, let's be honest, when you're in a position where you're in the spotlight, you're going to get attacked. You are. You're going to have people that do different things. You're going to have people that don't like the position you're in. You're going to have people that don't like that you won. And that's okay. But you also have the opportunity to realize that even if I have people that don't like me being here, it didn't stop me from being here. That part is so valuable and so very important. It didn't stop me from being here where I am. Oh, I think we done lost. That part stands out above and beyond. And so those of you that are listening in, that's something that I really want you to take away from this episode, is that when you show up, show up. You heard Ramona say it. Listen, I'm not paying attention to what anybody else is saying or doing. If they don't like me being here, then that's okay. They just don't like it. But I'm going to show up. And showing up means that I said that I would be okay with standing in this position. So that means if I'm the role model, that means if if I'm the one that everybody's looking to, if I'm the leader, if whatever that means, that is going to stand out. And it's going to speak volumes about you as an individual. It's going to speak volumes about your journey, because people are watching. Some of you may have never heard about Ramona before today. Before you listened to this particular episode, you never even knew who Ramona was. But when we get to that point that we say we're going to stand in this, we're going to be the authority in this lane, then once you find out who they are, you'll never be able to forget them. Exactly. I see messages coming in from the studio audience. Never allow yourself to be distracted. Don't be distracted. There's no reason for you to be distracted. So for those of you who are just coming in, who are just listening in, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. But this episode I had to do this episode. I had to do this episode because I wanted you guys to see that becoming the successful speaker or author, there are so many different avenues to it. And being able to be named in this position and to be able to say that you are the second African American world champion of public speaking, that sets a precedent for everything else. It sets a precedent for everything else. And when you look at your own journey, the things that you do today set the precedent for your tomorrow. The conversations you have today set the precedent for your tomorrow. And when you think about it in that light, I'm not going to talk to everybody then. I'm not going to be able to hang with everybody. Everybody's not going to be able to be in my circle. Because I know that this is setting up my tomorrow. And I know, some of you that are coming in are like, I didn't even know that they had an opportunity for you to be the, world champion of public speaking. Some of you may be coming in and saying, I never even heard anything about Toastmasters. And I believe Toastmasters is all across, of course, Toastmasters is all across the world. I told you guys another reason why this stood out for me is because this week of, that we're recording this particular episode, I'm going to be going and attending my first ever Toastmasters. And I'm going to tell you guys about it simply because I want you to experience it with me. And I want you to be able to go and experience it for yourself as well. When you put yourself out there and you decide that this is going to be your career, then I'm going to do the necessary things in order for this to be my career. There are some people that will never step into a course, they'll never read a book, they'll never take a class. They are gifted and can just do it at the drop of a hat, no questions asked. But that's not everyone. You have to be willing to invest something in order for you to receive the success that you're trying to achieve. Ramona invested time. She told you guys, she didn't just go to one Toastmaster. She's been to 3 different ones in 3 different states. That's time invested. And I see some of the studio audience is coming in and they're saying that they are in Toastmasters, proud Toastmasters as well. You have to have that understanding. What am I willing to invest in order for me to make it to the level that I said I wanted to achieve? What am I willing to do? That's a commitment you have to have and with yourself before you can have it with anybody else. And so, hello.
Hi. Don't know what happened. Lost you there for a second.
Not a problem. We were just talking about, the investment that you have to put in when you say that you want to be a success in any area. There has to be some type of investment. And you go into Toastmasters and you traveling and you deciding that you're going to, go all in with this is amazing. Because again, so many people say, oh, I want to be a paid speaker. I want to be making $50,000 per event. I want to be like ET, pay me $20,000 to come and speak at a school. Mm-hmm. Okay, but what are you doing to get to that point?
Right. That's a lot of money to pay somebody for an hour or two. So why should we pay you? Why should we pay you over ET?
Exactly. And you got to have that confidence too.
Mm-hmm. And it's the value. It's always about the value. Is your content worth $20,000, or is it only worth 20, or is it only worth 200? What value can you add to this audience? What are you going to give to the people who are coming here to pay you to speak? Like, I think people try to make it sound so simple because great speakers make it look so easy. But that's with anything. That's with entertainment. I know it's a lot of women right now who think they can outdo Beyonce, right? Like, oh, she just on there dancing to her songs. But if you've ever seen a documentary of Beyonce, then you have a whole new respect for her because you're talking about work ethic. And this is before she had 3 children, but she would work 14, 16 hours straight. And that's not even taking bathroom breaks. So it's like.
Even if you look at her comeback when she did Homecoming.
Oh, right. And that's with 3 children and a husband.
Exactly.
And still, I think she still was nursing for some of that. So great speakers make it look easy, but it's a lot that comes with the territory. Nobody's just gonna be like, here go $20,000, come speak. They're gonna want to know why. They're gonna want to know what you've done. They're gonna want to know why we should, even if it's a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company, we still want to know why we should pay you $20,000. That's why people would pay $500 to go see Beyonce, because you know exactly what you're getting. You know you're gonna get the production, you're gonna get the choreography, you're gonna get the experience, you're gonna get the costume changes, you're gonna get the big bada boom, right?
Exactly.
It's a difference between somebody paying a person who's been doing music for a couple of years, you know, and we'll pay $5 to see your show, or we paying $500 for Beyonce. There's a reason why.
There it is. I know another thing that when it comes to the speaking industry is speaking for free. So there's always this toss up. Should I speak for free? You know, should I never speak for free? What's your take on it?
I feel like first of all, with Toastmasters, anytime I speak with anything dealing with Toastmasters, it's free. But I'll do that because I get to travel all around the world for free. So you have to figure out, is it worth it? And also, if you're an up-and-coming speaker, that's how you build your speaking profile. Because like I said earlier, if nobody knows who you are, I don't know you, why would I pay you money to speak here? Let me see what you got first, because my reputation is on the line. So I'm not going to bring you in here and you talking crazy because we have no idea who you are or what you're about. You don't have any videos online. You don't have a portfolio. You don't have any references. So it's a risk when you bring in a new speaker. But when you say, you know what, I'm such an amazing speaker, I'll speak for free, and then you knock their socks off, that's a potential for someone to be like, oh, wow, you were awesome. Okay, now we want to pay you. So yes, absolutely. If you're a new speaker, absolutely speak for free. You have to. Going back to the Beyonce example, they weren't always getting paid for shows as Destiny's Child. They didn't get paid to be on Star Search.
Come on now.
Like you gotta pay your dues. Like everybody want to jump into it like everybody's a professional overnight. It takes time. It's like anything else. And if you love it enough, you don't care about doing it for free because it's what you love and you know it's for the greater good. It's just like anything else. You don't get out of college making $100,000 a year. You're gonna have to take that $20,000, $30,000 a year job because you have to build up your skill level. So in a nutshell, if you're a new speaker, absolutely. But if you've been speaking for 20 years and you're still doing stuff for free, this might not be your industry. This may not be your calling, baby.
That may not be for you.
It may not be for you.
And you know, it's interesting because you have some that they're like, you know, oh no, I just do it out of the kindness of my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That don't pay the light bill.
No, I mean, you got to find a balance. You can't do everything for free because, I mean, okay, well, you know what? Let me say this. If you're building a speaking business, no, you can't do everything for free all forever. But if you just like to speak and it's just something that you do on the side, okay, fine. But if you're trying to build a business, of course, I don't want you to speak for free forever. But if you've been speaking for, I don't say for less than 5 years. If you've been speaking for less than 5 years, there's a great chance that you're going to have to still do some things for free. But free ultimately can lead to some money. Like everybody want a free sample. Who goes to Sam's Club or Costco or BJ's or, you know, those stores and they had a little samples out there? Like we all like things for free. And if you like it enough and if it's good enough to you, you'll pay for it.
Oh, that part. If it's good enough to you, you'll pay for it.
Because your like we said earlier, your message and your story and your delivery is not going to resonate with everybody. That's why it's so many speakers, because everybody has a niche. I was talking to my little cousin the other day. He plays he's a quarterback for TSU, and we were talking about, you know, me speaking at TSU, and I'm like, well, I could come and speak to the athletes, but guess what? Ramona J. Smith don't even know how to throw a football. So where it would be motivating because I'm an inspirational speaker, would it be beneficial for me to come speak to the football team if I have no experience with athletics? If I have absolutely no experience with football, my son doesn't play football, my husband doesn't play football, my dad didn't play football, I'll inspire you, but why don't we get a football player in here who can speak as well? Like, why don't we get somebody who's been associated with anything athletic to come in here and speak? Like, I know, like, again, I know my lane.
That's interesting too, because the running joke has been, you get excited to be invited to a horse breeders convention to speak and you don't know nothing about horses.
And that was a question. Do you turn down events? Of course. Well, now I have to turn down events because I'm only one person. I can't, you know, be in 17 places in 4 different countries at one time. But absolutely, if somebody called me right now and asked me to speak at a neuropsychologist convention, I'd be like, well, what are you guys looking for? What is it that you need? And if what I do doesn't match those needs, I'm not just going to get a paycheck. Like, I'm not just going to get a paycheck because 1, it's not going to come off as authentic. 2, I'm not going to be excited about it. And 3, it's just, if you're only doing it for the money, then it may not be your passion. It may just be a hustle. And this is more than a hustle for me. It's my life. It's my life's work. So I take it very seriously. But somebody will take it. Somebody who doesn't even have a college degree will take it, and you'll make a fool of yourself.
And that's an interesting thought process too, because a lot of people think when I come into this industry, that's what I can do. I can just hustle my way to the top.
But why would you want to? That's not giving the people value. What is it? What is it? I mean, I don't understand it. That's like a doctor saying, I'm gonna give surgery to anybody just so I can make this bread. No, you don't need no surgery, but I'm gonna cut your ear off anyway so I can get this money from your insurance. That's not fair. That's not fair. And if you're not doing it with integrity, and if you're not doing it with the best intentions, I don't feel like you're gonna get the outcome that you want anyway. You might make some money, but are you gonna feel good about yourself at the end of the day? Like, this is about a lot of things. That's one thing that speakers don't take into consideration a lot of times is that, yes, you are the speaker. Yes, you are delivering a message, but the most important element of speaking is the audience. It's the audience. That's the most important factor in speaking, because without the audience, 1, you wouldn't have a job, and 2, you wouldn't make, you're not making an impact. You're not making a difference. When you have this tool and this gift to be able to use your voice and to convey a particular message to a particular group of people, that's special. That's special, and you don't want to just use that in any type of way. It's all about the audience. It's not about you all the time. It's about what you're giving. It's what you're giving. You have a gift. What are you giving to the people? And if you're just there to collect a paycheck, people will be able to read right through that. I don't care how dynamic you are. If you're just there for a paycheck, or I'm a speaking in, buy my book, come to my workshop, come to my event, like, nah, people gonna see right through that.
So very true. So very true. So now, one of the things that I always ask everybody who comes on as a guest is, I say, in this journey, have you had any blunders, any things that you look back on right now and you could say, okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea or the best choice?
Absolutely. This was my 3rd attempt at the World Championship of Public Speaking. The reason why I didn't make it the first 2 times was because of my arrogance. I was a very arrogant little speaker. I thought I was the best of the best, especially when I started winning. I had a big streak of beginner's luck because the first time I won, I made it to like the 5th level in the competition. And so naturally, I was arrogant, and I was like, man, why wouldn't I win this competition? And people have been doing this for all these years and they still haven't won. Like, I know I'm awesome. I know I'm the best. And that arrogance is what was my downfall the first 2 times around. And so I had to reevaluate that. I had to say, okay, well, if you're the biggest and you're the baddest and you're the best, You must not be, because you keep losing. and you're missing something. You're missing something, because of course the speaking is your passion. It's what you want to do for the rest of your life. But there's something that you're not doing right because you keep hitting the same brick wall. And so when I did some reevaluations, and I did that self-reflection and that self-awareness, I sat down and I said, you know what is this really about? Is it really about me winning a trophy just to say I have this trophy? Or do I really have something of value to give to every audience that I encounter? And once I really started tailoring my messages to the audience, as they say, the rest was history. But when it was all about me, and my story and what I can do and how many people I can speak in front of, and me, nothing went according to plan.
Wow, that when you think about having a world stage, that is the ultimate goal right there. Mm-hmm. Because even though you have a world stage, you got to think we're all combined in some way. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm thinking about me, then I'm missing the opportunity to help somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm missing the opportunity.
Because I feel like you're not going to get that world stage if you're going to mess it up. If you're gonna mess up this message that something bigger than you has, you're the vessel. If you're gonna mess that up, I'm not gonna put you in that position. Not me, but for people who think on a larger scale, whatever spiritual deity you worship, whatever you don't worship, there's always something working outside of us. And so if you are a person who says you want this huge platform and you want to speak in front of all these people, but you don't have the right message, one of two things is going to happen. One is you're going to get up there in front of 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 people, and you're going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and you're going to ruin your career. Or two, it's not going to happen until you're actually ready and you're actually in alignment for what is supposed to happen, which is 9 times out of 10 bigger than you. Yes, you can share your story. Yes, ultimately, we all want to be successful and be able to take care of our families. But when you have the responsibility of speaking to the masses, that's influential. That's life-changing. You're pouring into people's souls, and that's nothing to play with. And so if you don't have a message, and if you don't have a pure heart that's going to help other people, you might want to reconsider your profession. You have a responsibility to uplift, to inspire, to persuade, to inform, to motivate, to educate, to whatever it is. You have a responsibility as the person who has that floor. I was just at the MC Hammer concert, and I was thinking about just the depth and it was just magnificent how when Dougie Fresh got on stage, he's manipulating the whole audience. And not manipulating in a negative way, but if he said, everybody raise your hands in the air, 60,000 people raising their hands in the air because of one voice. Yep. If he said, all right, everybody put your peace signs in the air, that's power. That's power. Even if you're only in a room full of 10 people, you're still one soul with the power over 10 other individuals, and you have the floor, and they're opening themselves up to whatever you're going to say. And that's a huge responsibility. So you have to be careful. What do they say? With great power comes great responsibility. If you're not going to use it the right way, you're either going to screw it up, mess up somebody else, or you're not going to be given the opportunity to do it in the first place. Speaking is not anything to play with. You're really touching people's lives. And so you have to be careful with your message. I'm preaching. Wow.
Come on. Pass the plate. Come on.
Right.
This has been an amazing interview. I'm so thankful that you said yes to the opportunity to do an interview. As soon as I saw your story, I said, I got to have her on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I got to have her on because, again, we hit on so many different key focal points when it comes to, that successful journey as a speaker that people miss. Mm-hmm. Talked about, writing a book, and it was a while back. You wanted to write something else. So many people get scared about writing the first book, that they never get to that point of writing a second one, writing a third one. you spoke on the investment in yourself, the investment in your craft, because there's no way, shape, or form that you're going to be successful and not invest in your craft.
Right.
That's just it, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Do you read? Well,
absolutely.
That sounded weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't mean it to sound like that.
No, some people don't. No, some people don't. So that was a valid question, I think.
Very true. Very true.
I'm looking at Michelle Obama's book right now.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. Like, oh yes, ma'am. You have. I think reading is one of those things that you have to do, especially as a speaker, to sharpen your vernacular, to add to your lexicon, and you got to keep it fresh. I think reading is a great way to do that.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So let everybody know how they can reach out to you for more information. If they want to talk to you, if they want to interview you, if they want to get the book, let them know how they can reach you.
I am at Ladybug Speaker on Instagram, at Ladybug Speaker, LADYBUGSPEAKER, Ladybug Speaker on Instagram and Twitter. Facebook is Ramona J. Smith. Website is RamonaJSmith.com. Or for people who don't want to type all that, just do a Google search of Ramona J. Smith, and whatever you're looking for, I'm sure it'll pop up. If you're in the Houston area, I do have a workshop coming up on August the 26th, just a basic public speaking workshop where I will help you give that dynamic presentation that you've been trying to work on. I have an Eventbrite link on my Facebook page for that if you're in the Houston area and you're interested. And I'm on social media. I'll be around.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. I'm not sure when, but it will be happening. And it will happen before the end of 2019.
I like that. I like it.
It will happen before the end of 2019.
Yes, let's make it happen.
I love seeing us as African-American women really push through and do some powerful things when it comes to setting a precedence.
Yes. We have to because we have not been living up to our standards. We've been lost in a lot of things. And I believe that African-American women are the strongest beings on the planet Earth. And I say that with full assurance and full confidence. And that's not to put anybody down. It's just facts. And so we have to, like you said, set the precedent, set the example, set the bar very high so that the young girls looking up to us know that these are our expectations. That there are more, that we are Toni Morrison, we are Maya Angelou, we are Oprah, we are these powerful and beautiful Black women, but we've been distracted, we've been oppressed, and we have to get back to who we already are. So many young Black women think that our history started as slaves. I don't even like to use the term slaves because that diminishes the person. Enslaved people, they were still people. And so if you feel like your history begins and ends as a slave, we got some work to do. And so I'm one of the women who are here on this earth to do that work.
I love it. Every bit of it. Oh my goodness, guys. You know that I love bringing amazing authors, speakers, entrepreneurs to you simply because I know that you're on this journey. You're either on it, you're about to start it, you're interested in it, you're getting the itch, you're getting the speaker itch.
Yeah.
And we always want to make sure that you know the behind the scenes, that you are literally getting it from an individual who has reached the level that you are trying to attain. With that being said, we appreciate you guys. Don't forget that, of course, without the Speakeasy audience, there would be no Speakeasy podcast. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Let us know how this particular episode resonated with you. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.